3% odds. So you're telling me there's a chance. Good afternoon, everyone. It is May 10th, 2022. And if your team's not in the playoffs, it's time to break out your lotto cards and hope for the best. We welcome you to Teal Town Live. This is the 2022 NHL Draft Lottery Live Reaction Show. So we expect all of you to welcome in all around the world in Sharks territory. So if you want to be part of the show, here's how you do it. Chat with us and fellow Sharks fans and hockey fans on this planet Earth on the YouTube page or the app. And of course, follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Reddit, and of course, Discord. And of course, find everything at tealtownusa.com. And with that, I say hello. I'm Erik Kuhre, pleased to be joined by Ian Reid.
You know, we always do these shows and we've never won. We're probably the problem.
Don't stop believing. You know, looking at, I did some research, and the Sharks have actually won a draft lottery. That was back in 1998. The funny thing is, they did not have their own pick that year. They had traded their first round pick for Mike Ricci, but they got one back from Florida in exchange for Victor Kozlov and a fifth. They got Dave Lowry and a first going back. And then they did another trade with Tampa to get Brian Marchment and I think David Shaw with Andrei Nazarov going back. And they agreed to swap picks if according to Tampa's choosing. Well, Tampa chose to go number one, and the Sharks got number two, and they got Brad Stewart. So
the more you know.
The more you know. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Of course, this is probably the most exciting stuff we're going to get to until the draft. Let's be honest here. Alex in the chat, yes. If Vegas gets a top 10 pick, I'm burning this place to the ground. Well, if they get a top 10 pick, I think it goes to Buffalo, right?
It would go to Buffalo. Yeah, Buffalo. Yeah, I believe it is lottery protected, so it would go to Buffalo. Would it not?
Oh, if it's lottery protected, then all of a sudden things have changed.
Or no, it goes back to
Vegas.
Yeah, it goes back to Vegas. Yeah, I'm on crack. Yeah, so it would go back to if it goes into the top 10, it goes back to Vegas, right? I'm like, that doesn't sound right. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how it would look like in there. So, but Vegas has a 0.5% chance. But granted, I've seen weird things go on. Oh, could it be? As I'm looking at it, Jamie Hirsch from the NHL Network, potential future Sharks GM Kevin Weeks co-hosting this. Did he wait the balls? I mean, come on now. That would be fun.
I mean, let's hope so. I think that would be a good way to get your foot in the door. Let's do this.
All right. So they're talking, and we'll kind of do everything that they're saying. Teams that win either lottery draw can move up to a maximum of 10 selections. So teams ranked 1 through 11 can win the first overall pick. Sharks are in that spot. Teams 12 through 16 wins the lottery draw. That automatically means Montreal gets first overall.
Yes.
So another thing that begins this year, no team can advance in the draft order by winning the lottery more than twice. And as we said, teams 12 through 16 can't get into, they can only move up 10 spots. So, like as we said, if Vegas wins, that pick can only go no more than 6th.
Correct. Which I'm fine with. I think it was a nice overdue change. Like, there was a couple years where teams won the lottery that had just missed the playoffs, and I think that if you're going to if you're going to do a draft system, and I know some people don't like the draft system because they would just like there to be chaos and players to be free to sign wherever they want. And I do understand that argument to a point, although I don't think I think it helps the big markets and hurts the smaller ones. If every rookie was a free agent and they could just sign wherever, I think obviously the rich would get rich and the poor would probably stay poor. So I think the draft is the way to do the way to do this properly. But I do think that, yeah, you don't want a team that missed the playoffs by a couple of points to, get the first overall pick or the second overall pick. I remember the one year the Flyers moved up a ton of spaces after being also, I think it's when they drafted Nolan Patrick, but I could be wrong on that.
I think that's when it was.
Double check my work. But yeah.
My thing, go to another sport, is the Orlando Magic won the 92 draft lottery, got to select Shaquille O'Neal. The next year they had a 1 out of 66 chance to grab first overall, and they got it. And people were freaking out. They adjusted their draft pick to, their draft lottery to another thing, to another position, and make it a little more complicated for a team not so close to missing the playoffs by like a few points and then landing another big job. So kind of looking in the chat right now, there's Jack Olson saying, I see Joe Will, and Joe Will's on the screen right now if you're watching it with us. Lance Fletcher saying top 5 pick equals happy Canadian robot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, if the Sharks can win one of these, get the balls to come up and move up, I think it'd be a huge boon to the Sharks. Obviously, I think they're still going to get again, when you're in the lottery, especially, you're still picking 10, 11, like that's still going to be a decent player. I think,
right.
Would it be nice to pick Shane Wright? Absolutely. I think Shane Wright's a hell of a player, and I think that he would help this team pretty quickly. Would it be immediate? I don't know, but it would be really, he would help this team really quickly. I think the main thing that you hope for in this situation, for me anyway, when the Sharks have such low odds, like it's a 3% chance. I mean, it's a chance, and if it happens, I'm going to be ecstatic. But I think the one thing you just want to hope for is that no one pushes you out, right? And I think that's the thing that I am more like. I will be happy if we win, but staying in 11 and not getting pushed to 12 or 13, that would be that's a good consolation prize in my book.
Right. So basically, you kind of said it right there. The Sharks can only go 1, 2, 11, 12, or 13
Correct.
in the draft. So that's kind of where we're looking at it right now, as they're interviewing Shane Wright on ESPN, and I believe Sportsnet's also carrying this as well. Alex Beltran with the comment, what pick did the Sharks have when they got Pat Falloon?
2. The Sharks have never had a first overall pick.
Correct. Sadly, they should have had Lindros. Damn it. Come on. Talk about it.
But then he doesn't, I don't know. I mean, does he come here?
I mean, I think better than Quebec, right? Start a new franchise, or is he?
I don't know. See, I have being an expansion team and knowing how bad expansion teams are, I do question whether it would have mattered if he would have came here or if he would have just basically said no to here too.
Right. So, Chester Chivos, and good afternoon to you, my friend. Outside of Shane Wright, who do you guys see the Sharks targeting?
I'm not sure, because obviously, like, everyone's putting together the lists right now. I mean, obviously, if you pick 1 or 2, then that changes things drastically. But I don't think right now, based on what I've looked at, and I haven't done a ton of work, and we are going to have somebody coming on to talk draft with us, hopefully in the near future. I just got to get things sorted out in that regard. But I think that it's going to be interesting, because I don't think there's I think it gets really interesting after, I think the top 3 picks are probably pretty set, but I think after that it's going to be an interesting year. So I don't know what they're going to be looking at. I mean, I think with Doug Wilson Jr. being at the helm, I'm a lot more optimistic about what they're looking at. Based on previous drafts where I think we would probably just by default look further down the board than we should. Before Doug Wilson Jr. took over, but I don't really have anything set. Let's figure out where they're drafting and then we'll go from there, I think.
Yeah. And it's a tough part, because you have to know where you're at, but I'm sure everything has got to be, all the intangibles or all the what ifs are taken care of. So,
yeah.
And Loaded Panda giving you some love. If the Sharks go first, they should select that guy Ian Reid. That guy knows hockey.
I mean, Patrick Marleau just retired today, and we're the same age. We don't want to draft Ian.
And of course, we'll get into Patty a little bit later, while they're at a commercial break, and it's a 30-minute show leading up to a few minutes of what people want to see.
Yes.
Yes. Let's
much like ours,
right? Hey, now, let's talk about the two signings that happened yesterday. Jacob Magna and more so, Alexander Barabanov. Both get 2-year deals. What did you think?
So I'll start with Barabanov. I think I was really happy with this deal. I was really nervous about this extension. I thought it was going to come in between 3 and 4. I don't know why. That was just my gut was like, God, they're going to sign this guy for like 3 or 4. And then like he's going to, and then the pressure's going to be on to perform because look, it's not a secret. This team, for being as bad as they are, they're also really cap strapped. So to get him in at that deal at the 2, I think it was the 2 and a quarter,
2.5.
2.5. Thank you. It's a really good deal for the Sharks. I think I laughed when I saw the 10 team no trade list.
Yeah.
But if that's what you had to do to get that number in at what it is, like, I'm not upset about it. I'm not going to like it. It seems funny to have a 2-year deal with a 10 team, no trade. 10 team no trade. It seems like it's a weird deal, but like, I think it's a huge win for the Sharks.
I totally agree. I think it's a great deal, great number. For him, I really like it, and I hope that, like heck, it comes to be a very valuable contract.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think for what he brings, I think it's a really good deal, and I think Sharks fans should be really, really happy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very helpful in the top 6. Definitely had some nice character and chemistry with that top line with Hurdle and Meyer. It's going to be a nice one. Magna, as the cards are being brought in to build daily, so we're getting close to getting started. But Magna, I mean, kind of is it a one-way or two-way deal?
One-way deal. One-way deal. $765K, if I remember correctly. It's fine. Look, Jacob Magna is a guy who I think does get a lot of grief from our fan base, and I think some of it's deserved and some of it isn't. I think that when you look at how banged up the blue line was, it forced people to play in roles that they probably shouldn't be in. And it also, I think it did 2 things. It forced people to play in roles they probably shouldn't be in, and it showed just how far Vlasic has fallen. I think those are the 2 things that this year showed a lot. Right. Jacob Magna, I think, is if you have a healthy blue line and he's a 6'7" guy at that money, like that's basically going to be league minimum, I think, at this point. I think it's a fine deal for him, right? He's a guy that can go to, and if he goes down to the Barracuda, then it's not a lot of, it's a one-way deal. So he's going to make his money either, regardless of whether he's playing with the Sharks, if he's the 7th guy, the 6th guy, or he's on the Barracuda. I mean, it's a great deal for Jacob Magna. I think that if the blue line's healthy, then he's going to play and roll in a situation that's probably better suited to his skill set. And I just think that
Ian?
this year he was pushed. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. They're starting the countdown right now. The 16th pick
Uh-oh.
goes to Vegas, which means it goes to Buffalo. 15 goes to Vancouver. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
14th now is supposedly Winnipeg, and it stays at Winnipeg. So
Okay.
far, no one has leapfrogged the Sharks just yet. If you're looking on the screen right now, those are the draft odds. 13's coming up, and it's supposed to be the Islanders. Bill Daly, the New York Islanders.
Perfect.
So far, so good. At the worst case scenario right now, it's either the Sharks move down one spot, or they stand pat, or they're the top two.
Okay.
We're at number 12. Number 12 is supposed to be Columbus.
Columbus.
And it is Columbus. So, worst case scenario, the Sharks are either picking 11, 2, or 1. Here we go. The 11th selection in the 2022 NHL Draft is going to the San Jose Sharks. So the Sharks stand packed at 11.
That's fine. Like I said, it could have been like, this is a good consolation. Again, it was 3%, but the odds of moving up were not in the Sharks' favor. But not having anyone behind them, hit those odds and moving up, I think that's pretty much all you can hope for. All right, let's go through the rest of this.
All right, so Anaheim is at number 10. Anaheim is at number 10. The draft odds show Buffalo should hit this, and they stay at number 9. So far we're standing pat as is. So no one has leapfrog just yet. So Anaheim stays there. So far, the Pacific Division-wise, hasn't done too much change. Detroit is at number 8, which means they stay at number 8.
They stay at number 8, yep.
Number 7 is Ottawa. And this was the spot where the Sharks were last year, so be curious if the luck happens a year later. But the number 7 spot goes to the Ottawa Senators. So again, we're staying stand pat right now. I can see Chester Chivo. So many OTL losses that cost us from being a top 5 pick. We'll see. Number 6 was supposed to be Chicago, and it is Chicago,
which goes to Columbus
as a part of the Seth Jones deal, correct?
Correct.
So Columbus will pick at number 6 and number 12, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. New Jersey is at number 5. Let's see. Where they go? Number 5 goes to the Philadelphia Flyers. So
Jersey moved up.
So Jersey moved up. So Jersey moved up into the pick. So that is very interesting there. All right. The next one was supposed to be Philly, so we'll see if Seattle moves down to number 4. And the number 4 pick belongs to the Seattle Kraken. So Seattle has moved down, and Ron Francis is very melancholy behind his mask at the 32 bar. So Arizona. And so there's Arizona, Montreal, New Jersey. We know New Jersey's going 1 or 2, and of course they have to go to a commercial break, of course.
Yes. So that it's getting interesting. So back on, I guess I go back on Jacob Magna and then cut me off when they come back on. I think, so what I was saying about Jacob Magna, obviously, like, it's not like the deal doesn't super excite me, but it's fine for what it is. I think that's the best way to describe that situation there. I think if he's slotted in a spot that's fine for what he is, I think it'll be fine. Let's just hope that the blue line's healthy next year. Let's hope a guy like Knyzhov comes back and can slot into the lineup. Where does that leave Radim Šimić? That's a good question as well. But and obviously we don't know what's going to happen this summer. We've obviously Friedman was talking about the preliminary trade talks between teams, talking about Erik Karlsson or possibly moving Brent Burns. I think if you're the Sharks, everything has to be on the table at this at this rate, I just don't, like we said on the show on Sunday, I will be, I don't think Erik Karlsson's not going to be on this team next year. I think anyone who's, is taking that to the bank, I think it's copium.
I can't see him leaving unless there's some sort of fallout or strange. He has a no move clause. So
yeah, I mean, so he has control over his destination,
right.
But losing sucks, and like don't underestimate how much it sucks to lose.
Yeah. So
right, and if you don't see a path out of winning, if you don't see a path back to winning relatively soon, then and I think less for him. I mean, Brent Burns obviously is the guy that I always circle back to, just because like he's his career when his Sharks contract's up, his career is probably over. So
right.
I think if you wanted to entice somebody to try and chase the shiny silver thing, I think Brent Burns makes a lot of sense for that. But yeah, again, it is what it is.
Yeah. So let's reiterate everything that's gone on. The Sharks stand pat. They pick at number 11. The last time they were picking number 11 in the first round of the NHL draft, they drafted Jeff Friesen in 1994.
Oh, wow.
So there you go, which turned out to be a pretty decent player over the course of 6-7 years, and they used him as an asset to trade for Teemu Selanne when they were going all in for it. So
yeah, I mean it's it's not the best place to draft, but I still think the one thing that with obviously when you're not trading first round picks away, and you're like the Sharks are going to accumulate talent here.
Yeah,
I think that there's some good players here that I think that could fit what the Sharks do. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm really curious to see how the draft actually goes, because I think there's not a lot of I don't see a lot of consistency as far as like this is the consensus number 11 pick, right?
True.
So it's going to be interesting to see who they end up with.
Arizona just picked up the number 3 spot, so they moved down. So it is now down between New Jersey and Montreal. So New Jersey or Montreal. New Jersey has won the draft lottery 4 times in the last decade. If they win it here, Montreal will stand pat, and only New Jersey moves up a couple of spots. So the number 1 pick goes to the Montreal Canadiens. New Jersey will pick number 2. That was close for New Jersey. They had won it in 2011, 2017, and 2019. And Montreal will get first overall. And what a way to get it. They didn't get to have the draft in 2020 due to COVID. They're going to have it at the Bell Center on July 7th, and they will be selecting first overall.
Yeah, it's a nice win for them. I think they were absolutely atrocious this year, so I think that I don't have any issue with them. I know they were in the Stanley Cup final 1 year ago, but like that run. I mean, not to take anything away from it, but I don't. You have to win 4 rounds to get to the. You have to win 3 rounds to get to the Cup final, and they won 3 rounds. But I don't think anyone was super high on them repeating that feat this year. And obviously without Carey Price and everything, like they've got to figure a lot of things out. But I don't have an issue with them getting the first overall pick. No. I mean, they were putrid this year, and that's how it's supposed to work. Yeah. New Jersey moving up is nice for them. I think New Jersey's a team that the Metro Division's so tough.
Yeah.
And I think, anyone having to try and climb out of that division is definitely got their work cut out for them, because I don't think that a lot of those teams aren't going anywhere. Like that team is just going to continue to be really tough to try and build your way out of. But I think New Jersey at some point, like New Jersey's quickly becoming, one of those teams where when people tell you cautionary tales of tearing it down because God, you might end up being Buffalo, not everyone always ends up being Tampa. I think they're quickly going to end up in that category where it's like, oh, the Buffalo and the Ottawa and the Jersey Devils. So,
yeah. So Devils will go number 2. Montreal gets to pick first overall for the first time since 1980.
Which is wild.
That's crazy to see. That's 42 years in between picking first overall. I should mention as a Bay Area reference, they also selected first overall in 1971 when they got the pick from the then California Golden Seals. You know who they drafted with them?
Go.
Guy Lafleur.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
As they swapped picks with Montreal and California, and Ernie Hickey was a part of that move, and it makes you wonder where the Seals would have been if they had kept the first and went with Lafleur. So
there you
go. So draft lottery is set again. If you're just joining us, the Sharks will pick number 11. They stand pat at in their 11th spot. So nobody really moved. Basically, in a way, you could say that New Jersey won the draft lottery. Looking at the odds, they got to go up 3 spots, and that's it. So Denver Doyle saying, "Hey, who are we getting at 11th?" And
I have no idea, but we are like I said, the plan is I got to do some reaching out, but we are going to talk to hopefully get some people on that can school us on who who's available, who they think the Sharks should pick. I am working these things out.
Yeah, definitely. So that's where they'll be at for number 11. The draft is July 7th. I'll be probably tuning in over an airplane as I'm headed to England that day. So we'll see how that goes. And that one, that'll be on ESPN, along with all the usual suspects up in Canada. So be on the lookout for that. Moving onward. So Mr. San Jose Shark retired today. Patrick Marleau called it a career after 23 seasons in the NHL. Your overall thoughts? I mean, I know we kind of covered this on Sunday night, but what says you on everything that went down this morning at the Shark Tank?
I mean, look, it was really nice. I thought that I watched it. Obviously, I thought it was really well done. I thought it was really nice. I think obviously Marleau had a hell of a career. I know he didn't win the cup, and I know there will be fans who will lay that at his feet. And I don't think that's entirely fair. But I mean, I think the guy spent the majority of his career here. Obviously left at the end when things went south, and that's fine. I mean, I don't begrudge him for that. I don't begrudge anyone for a chance to try and move on and try and win the cup. I think especially after it became very clear that San Jose was not going to be the team that was going to get him there. I mean, what can you say about Patrick Marleau that hasn't already been said? He's a hell of a player. He won internationally. He played more games than anyone else in the league, and I still think that is obviously an incredible feat. And obviously, just he was always healthy. Like, the one thing that you could always say about Marleau was the dude never got hurt. He was always there. And I think, again, what can you say about Patrick Marleau that hasn't already been said? I'm happy. I'm happy for him. I'm happy he had the career that he did. And it'll be curious to see what comes next.
Yeah. I more than anything, he left it up there. If you've seen Christina Marlowe's Twitter or Instagram, they've been going to Disneyland a lot. They have found the recipe for churros, which, I'm curious. We have it all on our YouTube channel, so if you want to check that out afterwards, you can join us there. But yeah, it's bittersweet. I wish I could have been there at the ceremony today. Patty had been one of those special guys. I no matter how you rooted for him, how much you rooted for him, if you couldn't stand him or anything, I mean, the guy was just had poise and class, and I know that got mentioned a lot. So, and I'm seeing something about S.J. Sharkey.
I don't know.
Lucky number 11. Interesting. If you look on Sharky's Twitter right now, he put it in the Heritage jersey.
That would be nice. Enough screwing around Sharks.
So makes you wonder. That's very interesting to see. One of the crazier stats, and I know Becker brought it up today, was Marleau played with or against 37% of all NHL players,
which is crazy.
That is nuts. It just goes to show, how long he played in. But speaking of jerseys, and I'm sorry I didn't get this set up in time because I put it together, but Patrick Marleau has played in 19 different variations of a Sharks jersey since 1997, going from he
wore them all.
Yeah, the original style, which was Nike. So in a way, he didn't technically wear every single jersey, if you want to be technical. But he's worn. I know that's being really nitpicky, right?
Yeah.
But going from the Sheen, which is what I'm wearing, from Nike, to the Reebok Edge, he's worn the Heritage jersey with 2 different brands. He got the reverse retro. So, technically speaking, and if Sharky's Twitter is correct, let's be honest here. I hate to pull it up like this.
Yeah,
but he still might have technically worn all the jerseys in Sharks franchise history. We'll see.
Impressive.
But that is very interesting, and I kind of find it interesting now that I have this one in the background. Could they possibly be going back to the Heritage jersey?
I hope so. I mean, it's the best jersey that's ever been made. I don't know why I understand why you switch from it, because you want to sell more jerseys, and if everyone has, you don't change the design, no, people don't buy as many more. I understand that, but I think it's just there's certain sweaters in the NHL you just wonder why they've ever gone away from them to begin with.
Yeah,
and I think that Sharks sweater is one of them.
Yeah, I get the Nike one. The Nike ones were really great, but I think that was great as an alternate too. But to go back to the original style would be awesome. This just piques my interest. And one of the things I picked up on AJ's interview with Jonathan Becker is that he mentioned about unveiling our first round pick. And I'm like, unveiling is quite an interesting word to say when you're selecting your first round pick. So we shall see.
Yeah, as far as Marleau goes now, I think the next question obviously now is Hall of Fame. And I think he's in.
Yeah.
I think he gets in. I don't know if he goes in. Is he a first ballot guy? I'm not as confident that he goes in first ballot. But I can't see him not being in there. He's got the international hardware. He's in the 500 goal club.
Yep.
He's played more games than anyone else. I think, and it wasn't like, I know a lot of people would be like, oh, he never showed up in the playoffs, but he did. Like, he has a ton of goals and he has a ton of playoff points as well. Yeah, no shiny silver thing, but I don't think the Stanley Cup should. It's a team game, right? So, and I think for the Hall of Fame, I don't feel like not having a Stanley Cup should exclude you from the Hall of Fame, because it's a Hall of Fame's an individual honor and the Stanley Cup's a team award. So I think that his resume should have him in there, and I don't think it's particularly close.
No, I think he's got everything but the silver shiny thing. He won 2 gold medals in the Olympics. He's a 2-time world champion. He won a World Cup. I mean, or he may not have won a World Cup, but definitely a world champion.
World championships for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so it's I don't know how you can,
No, especially and when you consider the length of when Marleau played too. I think that 500 goals is really impressive when you played as much of your career through the clutch and grab era as Marleau did.
My question to you is this, and I'm curious your answer.
Mm-hmm.
How much did it help for Patrick Marleau to play in Toronto those 2 years for his Hall of Fame cause?
Oh man, I think it's interesting, right? I think it does. It probably helped a little bit because I think it people got to interact with him and deal with him.
Right.
That probably, that there's a lot of lazy narrative about Patrick Marleau from people who, who were in bed by the time he was playing, right?
Right.
And I think so. I think that helped his case? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I think the numbers still speak for themselves. I don't know. I'm an incredibly cynical person, and so it'd be really easy for me to be like, oh yeah, that's what's going to seal the deal is that time in Toronto. It probably helped. Like I said, I think it got more people to interact with him on a regular basis that may not have done so before, because again, they're the Canadian media is kind of dumb. I'll let you hit the super chat.
Oh yeah, 21 bucks, $4.99 super chat. Thank you, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Of course, super chats go help support the show in every shape or form, so we appreciate that. 21 bucks saying Ian doesn't think Patty's a first ballot head on a pike.
I think he should be. I'm just not sure he gets the votes to go. Like, again, it always depends on who's up, right? Because I think there's another guy who just retired this year who I think probably gets in ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Getzlaf. And I know that's, you want to get the pitchforks out. Now you can get the pitchforks out. Ian just said Ryan Getzlaf's going to the Hall of Fame before Patrick Marleau. But I think that you could probably make a stronger case for Ryan Getzlaf than you could Patrick Marleau.
Just because he won the
silver things too. Yeah, because he has the shiny silver things too. He has everything that Marleau has, plus the shiny silver things.
That's tough. That's tough, man. I mean, and AJ putting it out. 2010, 2014 Olympic gold, 2003 World Championship gold, 2005 World Championship silver, 2004 World Cup gold. I mean, you definitely have a lot of hardware in there.
Oh, I think it's there. But I'm just not this isn't me saying that Patrick Marleau doesn't deserve to be first ballot. I just don't trust the people that make these decisions to do it.
Yeah. Man, it's tough. I mean, I want to say that he gets in first ballot. I think overall, and he was a great playoff performer. Yes, he did not get a championship, but he definitely had a ton of clutch goals in the playoffs. I mean,
there's one. There was one against Detroit that I remember specifically. And it was just, I love Patrick Marleau. I mean, again, I am sure that you can go find footage on this channel of me tearing Patrick Marleau a new asshole, and I'm sure probably some of those times he deserved it and some of the times he didn't. But I think now that it's all said and done, I mean, obviously, look, man, Patrick Marleau has been a Shark my entire adult life.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right? Like, he's played hockey my entire adult life. And it was a hell of a ride. And I think, again, like, do you always? Yeah, obviously, I want the Sharks to win a Stanley Cup, like we all do. That's dumb, but I don't personally hold Patrick Marleau responsible for us not winning.
No, not at all. I think he did whatever he could with it. I mean, you look at 2010, he had that Game 3 overtime goal where he leaps into Jumbo's arms. Gets a series-winning goal in Game 5. 2011, after getting called out by Jeremy Roenick, gets that Game 7 game-winning goal. His only point of the series. He gets the overtime winning goal against Vancouver. Yes, did somebody say Vancouver? I just did. To get the Sharks' first ever sweep. And get. I think that's why 2016 always sticks out for all of us, just because how close that group got.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, again, I wish that, especially now, especially seeing like, with like Jumbo too, I think, like, would it make me ecstatic to see Jumbo lift the cup this year as a member of the Panthers? Sure. And that still can happen, but it would have been so much more satisfying seeing 2016 when he was the guy and not just a hanger on.
Yeah. And he still hasn't gotten into a playoff game yet, which frustrates me. But yeah, don't think that if the Panthers get into the Cup final, he's not playing a game. He might play 5 minutes on the fourth line. He's getting into a game in the Stanley Cup final for sure. So I think that's pretty much it, as Boston and Carolina get set to get underway. Toronto and Tampa will come up at the bottom of the hour. Anything to add?
I think the only thing that I think I was a little bit disappointed about, and I know someone's going to make a big deal out of this and it's going to be glorious, but I was disappointed that none of the current players were there.
You are right.
Like, I know, like, Logan Couture, they did like a video with him, and who knows, like, all these guys, but I was surprised, like, none of those guys were there. No one was there. It was weird to me.
I mean, I know Hurdle and Shimmick were in,
for sure. Yeah, there's guys that are at the Worlds, right? But like, Marc-Edouard Vlasic wasn't there.
Yeah, it makes
you know what I mean? Like, guys that have been, like, guys like that who have been on the team, that were there for so long, like they were teammates together. I was just, again, and is, look at scheduling, whatever, who knows? Like, I'm not, again, someone's going to make a way bigger deal out of this than they probably should. And I'm just going to sit back on Twitter and eat popcorn and let people get angry at me. But I was surprised, like, just like, you know what I mean? Like, right. I was surprised Logan Couture wasn't there. I was surprised a guy like Marc-Edouard Vlasic wasn't there. Like, obviously they had guys that had played with them previously and that aren't playing anymore were there. Nabby, Nabby Nolan,
Ricci.
You can go down Ricci. Yeah, you can go down the line. I was surprised that there was no one from that, because a lot of these guys have played a lot of games with Patrick Marleau.
Burnsy,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, there's been a lot of roster turnover, but I thought there'd be a little more representation.
Yeah, and again, who knows? Like, it's probably a nothing burger, but it seems weird to me.
No, you're the other thing too. You thought this would have been a time that we saw Doug Wilson record a message or something, and that concerns me a bit.
Yeah, and that concerns me that concerns me for reasons that aren't like, what the hell's your problem, Logan Couture? Why aren't you there? Obviously, look, at when Doug Wilson stepped down, we knew that there's health issues as to why. The fact that we haven't really seen or heard from him at all, that is concerning, man. And again, like, I think it's fine. Like, you can be happy that Doug Wilson is no longer the general manager of this team, but also equally concerned that we haven't seen anything of him or heard anything from him, and that's probably concerning as a human being.
Yeah, I mean, because the last time we kind of saw him publicly was when he got when he got his Hall of Fame induction ceremony in Toronto.
Yeah,
that concerns me, and sending our best to DW and his family, because yes, I know a lot of people are all over Doug right now as to where this organization is at the moment.
Yeah, but you can still care about him as a human being.
Absolutely.
Like he can be a bad general manager, and you can still care about him as a human being at the same time.
Yeah.
Like you can do both.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so I think that should do it for us. In case you missed anything and want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Smash that subscribe button on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. They're everywhere. If we're not on one, let us know. And, of course, always available at tealtownusa.com.
Fucking AJ.
Not even. Fine, AJ. Here you go. Ehrhoff was supposed to be at Marleau's retirement, but he missed it wide.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha. Anyhow, thank you for making me chuckle, AJ. I appreciate it. Your final thoughts, good sir.
Final thoughts. Sharks stand pat. They don't go down. I mean, I think I said this last year's at draft show. I think we probably need to let other people do draft shows, because like we're just not lucky. They don't win when we're on.
Damn it. I had the lucky.
But no, I mean, like, yeah. Final thought. I mean, look, it's good, right? Like they didn't go down, and that's the important thing. They're gonna get a player. I look forward to seeing who that player is. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the playoffs. And yeah, it's, when the Sharks do good, it's good. Or in this case, when they do nothing, it's also good.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't go down. Like, I'm on the team for some reason. He's at Ian Blogs Hockey. I'm at Puck Guy 14. Yes, 14, not 13.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I got a little bit of the goatee going on a little bit there. That's for you, jerk. So check us out on our Discord channel. We'll probably be hanging out a little bit there, either in voice or in text. Of course, follow us on all the social media. And until, I guess, next Sunday, 7 p.m., unless there's some news that breaks, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great day, everyone. Sharks picking 11th overall in the 2022 NHL entry draft. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.